Hey friends! My name is Desiree, aka Momma Friendly, and I do all sorts of videos on my channel, from cooking videos to planner videos, vlogs, hauls, homeschool videos with a Disney twist, a little bit of everything. So if any of that sounds like fun to you, I hope that you'll subscribe and join me on my YouTube adventure. For the last couple of years, we've been doing Disney homeschool themed videos around Disney movies, characters, or rides. This year, I decided to change things up and we're still doing Disney themed homeschooling, but we're going to be centering our lessons around the Epcot World Showcase. I thought this would be a great theme to base our lessons on because it gives us so much opportunity for different branches of learning. Obviously, we're learning about geography. We're going to learn about each of the different countries' languages and traditions and culture, how people live there as opposed to how we live. So we've got social studies thrown in the mix as well. I'm of course throwing in a lot of life skills. So cooking has always been an important part of our homeschool series, and we're going to aim to create an authentic recipe every single time that has to do with the country or traditions that we're studying. And of course, from a sensory perspective, I love including art projects in our theming, so every video is going to include at least 1 or 2 different art projects. Something else to consider is that my child is on the autism spectrum. He has nonverbal autism, and so we're going to be tailoring the activities obviously to his level because he is the child that I am teaching. You can of course feel free to tailor these activities to whatever developmental or educational level makes sense for the kiddos that you're teaching. I'm gonna do my best to include resources and activities in a Pinterest board that pertains to each and every theme. So all of these videos are gonna have a Pinterest board linked in the description box so you could check it out. This will give you some ideas for activities that we didn't get to cover in the video, or even ideas for taking the activities we did do and tweaking them to fit kiddos of different ages or different abilities. One big consideration that I wanted to make before jumping into this particular string of themed videos is that I wanted to make sure to approach this from a place of cultural appreciation and not appropriation. I want to be able to respect the people and the traditions of these countries without resorting to tropes. That being said, we're going to try to be as authentic as possible in all of our facts, in all of our art activities, especially in all of our recipes. I'm going to try my best to outsource this information from people native to the countries that we're studying wherever I'm able. So now that I've explained a little bit about what we're trying to do here, let's jump into the country for this month. So this month we decided to study Norway, which is a tiny little planet very up north in Europe, and it's also the second country in the World Showcase at Epcot. So in this video we're going to show you not 1 but 2 Norwegian recipes. We're going to do an art project inspired by traditional Norwegian folk art, and we're going to learn some fun facts along the way. Without any further ado, let's start our Norwegian studies. We're gonna find Norway. Norway is, let's see, it's in Europe, right? There it is. Wow, it's very near the top, huh? Norway's right up here. We learned a lot about Norway while we were studying this unit. And some of the fun facts that we learned. First off, the Day of the Constitution, which is the biggest festival of the year in Norway, happens on the 17th of May every year. The Nobel Peace Prize ceremonies are also held in Norway. Norway actually introduced salmon sushi to Japan. Skiing was invented in Norway. They have a volcano, which is something that I did not know at all. I would never have guessed, actually. The country runs on 98% hydroelectric energy, which makes them super environmentally friendly. And I think the most fun fact we came across about Norway is that they're a very generous country. Every year, they send the UK a Christmas tree to thank them for saving Norway in World War II. And apparently, they've been trying to give Finland a mountain for ages. We're currently watching the Norway tour, the Norway Pavilion tour on YouTube. And once again, I'm watching the video from 4KWDW. They're my favorite channel for tours, and if you just kind of want to put on a Disney park video for atmosphere, because they don't speak during the videos. They just give you footage from the actual place so that you feel like you're there and like you're walking around on your own discovering the pavilions. I'm gonna link this particular video in the description box in a playlist where I'm collecting a lot of interesting Norway themed videos, not just Norway in Disney, but Norway generally. I'm putting them all into a playlist so that you can check them out at your leisure. I also wanted to remind you that in the last couple years, we did Disney homeschooling videos based on characters and movies. And one of the movies that we covered was Frozen. When we did that, we did learn a little bit about Norway, not as in depth as we're doing right now, but we did some study in Norway generally. And of course, we did a tour of the Norway Pavilion then as well. Obviously, like in all of my homeschool videos, we did a recipe. And the recipe that we did in particular was the rice cream. It was a copycat of the rice cream that you find at the Norway Pavilion. So if you want to get a recipe for an authentic Epcot treat, make sure you check out that video. I'm going to have it linked down below as well so you can follow along. And of course, in that recipe, I'm showing you the allergy-friendly way, but I do let you know how to make it just true and authentic to the park. The national flag of Norway is red. It has a navy blue Scandinavian cross surrounded by white on it, and it extends to the edges of the flag. The vertical part of the cross is shifted to the hoist side in the style of the flag of Denmark. This flag doesn't have any special meanings associated with the colors. However, an interesting fact about the Norway flag is that it is known as the mother of all flags because it has the unusual distinction of containing the flags of several other countries within it, including Finland, the Netherlands, Poland, Thailand, France, and Indonesia. Pretty interesting, huh? We're actually going to be making two Norwegian recipes today because one is more of a main and the other is sort of a side, although the side could also just be eaten as a snack. But we're going to show you the ingredients for the main first, even though we're going to be making this later because this is going to cook really quickly compared to the side dish, if you will. This is a recipe that we found online for Norwegian dill salmon. And it's just what it sounds like. So they want you to use, this is for 4 servings. However, I'm the only person in my household that eats fish. So I just got the 1 salmon fillet and I'm going to scale the recipe down. But I will let you all know what you need for 4 servings. So for 4 servings, you'd need 4 Norwegian salmon fillets. I have Atlantic salmon, it's what I could find. You also need 160 grams of plain yogurt. You guys know that we are dairy-free, so I could have used plain dairy-free yogurt or even Greek yogurt. Well, dairy-free Greek yogurt. But I happen to have sour cream on hand that is dairy-free, and I figured that that would be just about the same. You also need 1 clove of garlic. 1 clove for 4 servings. I don't know about that, but that's what it says. 1 clove of garlic. 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Let me tell you all something. I put lemon and lime juice in everything, and I have since childhood. I was raised to put citrus in everything. This is the only brand, not sponsored, but just wanting to spread the gospel. This is the only brand of packaged lemon or lime juice that actually tastes like you've just squeezed the lemon. Because everything else I've tried has a super artificial, like from concentrate taste. This is from concentrate, mind you. But like I said, it actually tastes like you've just squeezed a lemon. No artificial taste whatsoever. I don't know how they do it, but it's all I buy, and I always have at least 3 boxes on hand. You also need a handful of fresh dill. I did not get fresh dill, but I do have this, which I use, again, in pretty much everything, so we're going to use some of this. Black pepper and sea salt to taste. And this should be remarkably easy. It says to preheat the oven to 220 degrees Celsius. If you are in the States, that would be approximately 425 to 430 Fahrenheit. I'm going to go with 430 because I like my salmon completely cooked through. You want to lightly oil a roasting dish or line a heavy baking sheet with foil. That's probably what I'm going to do, parchment paper. And then add the salmon, season it with the lemon juice, the salt, and the black pepper. We're going to roast it until it's cooked through in the middle. It doesn't give a time. I guess it depends on the thickness of your fillets, obviously. But I think for something like this, I'll probably do 15 minutes. That might be too much. But like I said, I don't mind that because I like my salmon completely cooked through. And that's what they're asking you to do anyways. So I'm going to cook it for 15 minutes at about 425. Then, in the meantime, we're going to be making our sauce. And like I said, for 4 people, that's 160 grams of plain yogurt, or in our case, our sour cream here. And our 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, some fresh dill, we have dried, and the garlic. Then we're going to drizzle that over the salmon and garnish it with some fresh dill. I might just sprinkle more on top, but that's going to be our main. And I'm only going to start this when we're about halfway through cooking our side. And now for our side slash snack, we're going to be making Norwegian club dumplings, which are a tasty and filling way to celebrate Scandinavia, according to the recipe we found. So for this, we're going to need 4 potatoes peeled and shredded. So what I did instead is that I got this bag of unseasoned shredded hash browns. It's about a pound. I hope that that's the equivalent of 4 big potatoes. And I'm just gonna let this come to room temperature-ish so that it's not frozen. And that's what we're gonna use. You also need 3 cups of flour. I have my trusty Bob's Red Mill here, my 1-to-1 flour. This is my favorite gluten-free flour. It's the only one I've found that does not have any sort of metallic kind of aftertaste. You also need a teaspoon of salt, 1 egg, and approximately 4 ounces of ham or some other cooked pork cut into some cubes. So you're literally gonna make, according to the recipe, you want just a cube of ham to go into each dumpling, but the way that this is kind of carved up, it's just very thick slices. So I might just chop it up and put, you know, several tiny cubes into each dumpling. They also want you to have some melted butter on hand, about 5 tablespoons, because you're going to pour that over the top to serve them, along with salt and some pepper to taste. What we're going to do is we're going to bring a large pot of salted water to a hard simmer. So you want it boiling, but not like a rapid boil. And while the water is warming up, you're going to grate your potatoes, assuming that you're just using like regular potatoes. You're going to peel them and shred them into a bowl. You're going to add your flour, egg, and salt, and then you're going to mix and knead it until it's a firm dough. If you need to add more flour to make it a stiff consistency, then do that. And once it's reached the consistency you like, you're going to wrap your dough around the cube of ham, or cubes in our case. Each dumpling should be the size of a large meatball, and this recipe should yield between 8 to 12 dumplings. We're going to drop each dumpling into the simmering water and allow it to cook for 45 minutes, which is why we're waiting to make the salmon. And you just want to make sure that the dumplings do not stick to the bottom of the pot. So you don't have to stir them or anything, but just make sure that when you put them in, they don't sink to the bottom. And if they do, unstick them as soon as you're able. And after the 45 minutes, they should be ready to eat, so you can just remove them with a slotted spoon and serve them with that melted butter, salt, and pepper next to your salmon. Also found a video of the original Spirit of Norway movie. So before Frozen Ever After was there was a ride called Maelstrom, and it was all about Norway and Vikings and trolls and just kind of the lore of Norway. And at the end of the movie, there was a theater experience where you can actually sit down and watch a video about the history of Norway. So if you'd like to see that video, which is no longer available, it's not a thing anymore, like it just doesn't exist, I'm going to link this video there as well so that you can give yourself a little bit of a retro Epcot experience. All right, pals, so for our Norwegian art project this month, we are going to be using our global art book. I'll have this book linked down below. We're going to be making a Rosemaling on a cardboard chest. So Rosemaling is a rose painting. Apparently in the 1700s in Norway, rosemalers, which were men specifically that painted rose designs, would travel from home to home painting walls, ceilings, furniture, and chests with their individual techniques and designs. The designs were typically regional and of course unique, but the colors were always similar in that they were bright blue, bright red, gold, and dark green with black and white accents. So we're going to be making our own with a shoebox. This particular shoebox opens like this, which I really like. I feel like it gives more of like a chest vibe. You could also use a banker's box or the kind of box that reams of paper come in if that's easier for you to get. I feel like most people probably have shoe boxes lying around though. You're also going to want to use paint and brushes, or you can use crayons, whatever is easier for you or your kiddo to use or obtain. Now this is kind of a dark color, so in order to give us as clean of a workspace as possible, I'm really awful at wrapping gifts, but I've got some plain white paper, like printer paper, and some tape. And I also have some sheets of label paper. So I'm gonna do my best to cover this all in white paper one way or the other. Before I bring kiddo in here, I'm gonna draw my best rendition of a rose on the top, and I'm gonna just let him kind of freestyle all over it, paint it however he likes, because at the end of the day, this is gonna be his special treasure chest to put all of his favorite things in. Alright, is it the best wrapping job ever? No, not at all, but it's cute. I mean, it's definitely white, so I'm gonna try my best now to kind of freehand a rose. An artist I am not. I am definitely not a rose mauler, but we're gonna try to kind of do some sort of a flowery design here. Trying my best to do little like petals and whatnot. I don't know if that's probably not what the inside of a rose looks like, but we're trying here, folks. So we'll make those like the petals. Yep, definitely a good thing that I am not a Norwegian man in the 1700s. I feel like that looks more like a lily than a rose, but there was an attempt made, right? I think we can agree. So let's get, I think my son will probably enjoy the markers the most. That'll be the easiest thing anyways. Yeah, you agree? Okay, so we've got black, blue, they said also red, maybe like this one. And then it had white accents. I guess we'll just kind of leave that alone. And dark green. I don't have any dark green, but I've got this green. So we'll kind of go to town here with our dry erase markers. Obviously, if you have regular markers, that works too. Oh, I like that. You're making the rose red. That's good. Look, you want to do the rest of it? I like that. Look, you want to use some green too? You've got green, you've got blue, and you've got black. Look, we can also do little details like this. All over the sides. All over. Oh, that's nice. Oh, I like it on the leaves. That's good. Nice work. You like it? That's nice, huh? He kept it pretty simple, but I mean, even though this looks like a acorn or pine cone slash lily flower hybrid and not much of a rose, it's still cute. And now he can put all his treasures in here. So I think that this was a fun art project, all things considered. There you have it, friends. We had a lot of fun this month studying Norway. The dishes that we did were super easy. I was kind of intimidated by the dumplings, I'm not gonna lie. I thought that they had the highest potential for not turning out, but they were actually much easier than I expected, and they were really, really yummy. They also make great leftovers. And our art project was super easy and a lot of fun because it's something that my son could actually use now. Like, it ended up being a functional thing, so that's always exciting. We got to do a fun puzzle and read a bunch of books. We learned a bunch of fun facts along the way, got to watch some of our favorite videos as far as the tour of the pavilion, and of course we rewatched Frozen because why not? All in all, it was a great learning experience, and I cannot wait to bring you guys the next video in our series next month, which will be China. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But in the meantime, I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, I hope that you'll please give it a big thumbs up. I'd also love it if you would subscribe and click that notification bell because I post at least 3 times a week, and I wouldn't want you to miss a minute. Thanks so much again for watching. See you real soon.